Yaga, narcopaths, these cretins, they're the ones that are reporting you to the boss, saying you packed away your ladder 1 hour early, when in fact they said to you, let's lie about the amount of work we've done so we can save some work for tomorrow, so we get sent back to a easy job that we've already finished. They're the ones that actually in the end get promoted. They are the ones that turn up to work hungover. They turn up to work after spending the weekend, every weekend, taking substances. They spend the weekend gambling. They spend the weekend getting up to debauchery, and they turn up with their eyes black. They wear a cap, their heads on the floor. They are the ones that in the end, the manager will take their word over yours. This is continuing on from the last video that I made. These characters are the biggest hypocrites you will ever find. They are the biggest hypocrites. And they are literally a black hole. Now, I wanted to just talk about something because I was trying to allude to it in the last video, but I didn't get the point across as well as I wanted to. I didn't get the point well across. Basically, what I was trying to say, Chad and Laurie Daybell, churchgoers, if you go and look up the story, I believe that they're both in state federal prison because of they killed their children. They were both members of Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints church. You have these Mormon church goers who they claim to belong to that church, yet they're swinging. See the lady from The Bachelorette who was done for DV, I can't remember her name. But they are hypocrites. Now, also a lot of these Jesus Christ Latter-day Saints, if you watch true crime, you see them popping up left, right and centre as the serial killer. So they end up believing a ideology, a doctrine. And what I was trying to get across is these ideas are sort of installed to them when they grow up. They sort of grow up through their family ministries, their churches, their community. They're grown into these ideas. It could even be the Torah, the so-called Jewish, or you can be the Allah with the Quran, and they saw the Sunnah and all of these names, but they don't actually practice it. And why I brought this up is when I see, this happened to me a long time ago. I was in a class and there was a man who was trying to teach me something, and he couldn't actually do the application of the move himself. He couldn't actually do it in a way that it would work. So you get people that are both ends of the spectrum. They have all the talk, but they can't actually pull it off. And you also have some people who can actually do it. So I've had a teacher who, he actually did the move by actually doing it on me. So he actually threw me to the floor. So to make a point, he did it in such a emphatic way, which it wasn't needed in that term. I was just saying to him, I can't see how this move works in real life situation, or how it's applicable. And this man literally threw me on the floor using a move that I think in sparring it would have been deemed as illegal, but it doesn't matter. It's still quite a handy move, but he did it to me. So why I say that is that when I see people speaking about, certain things, I always look at them and see what is their actual experience, what is their practice, what has it taught them. For me, I prefer to follow somebody who's a born-again Christian, who maybe grew up in the church and then they lived a life of sin. They got lost in darkness in the way of the world, and then they found their way back to Most High via something as dreadful as narc abuse, or someone who they're in a gang, they've all got all these tattoos on their face, pear drops, they've maybe committed certain crimes against humanity, and then they go into prison and they change their life around and they spend their time in the prison reading the Bible, joining the Bible groups, and they come back and they start preaching to people about God. Those are the sort of people that I would follow, because at the end of the day, a lot of characters, someone lost their keys, could leave it there. You have a lot of people who they haven't faced any hardship, especially people like these are narcopaths. They haven't had any life experience. They haven't had any challenging moments when they've had to survive, when they were homeless, when they lost a job, when they were they had no funds to feed themselves, when they were alone in a new place, when they were set upon, when they were ostracized and they had to deal with their own mental health alone by themselves, or make their own money, or whatever the case may be. They always sort of rely on that sort of structure, maybe it may be sort of family system or whatever it is. They never actually go out here alone independently. They always stick to their toxic groups, their toxic communities, their toxic family systems, their negative patterns. That's what these people do. So when I'm speaking about these hypocrites who appear to be all prim and proper, they're the front of the pulpit at church, they're the one giving the biggest tithes, they're running up to write the checks of the money they want to donate in front of everybody while the sermon is going on. These people are committing the worst crimes against humanity. These people, these are the Bill Gates of the world. These people are the chronic liars, chronic cheaters, chronic narcopaths who are trying to control via means of manipulation and domination, total control over their supply sources. So just be aware, if you're going to a church, look at the man who's giving you the sermon. Hopefully he's someone who he's lived the life, he's seen what hell is, he's lived it, he's actually found, and he's gone into himself, he's had an awakening, he's gone deep inside himself and found the way. Not someone who have lived a sort of 2.4 children lifestyle and they haven't seen any hardship. They don't know what it is to suffer. They don't know what it is to deal with any adversity. They haven't been forged in no fire, yet they're giving you advice, they're giving sermons, they're selected to be supervisors, they're selected to be managers, they're selected to be in charge of things. Things are all given to them because they're just a part of a narc group. They haven't actually gone out there and built anything from the ground up by themselves. It's always a case of a demonic task force working together, flying monkeys, spreading information, smear campaigns, these gang stalkers driving around NPCs. That's how these people operate. So bear that in mind. The people that I follow are people who've got experience, the ones that if they're showing me something, they've actually used it in a real life situation, they know how to apply it, or they've re-engineered the move, they've sort of studied it enough to know when it will work and when it won't work and the different scenarios. That's the sort of people that I follow. That's the sort of person I am. When I started my awakening, as I said before, I was in certain situationships, but I went out to the world and studied people like Professor Sam Vaknin, is that his name? And Richard Grannon and Dr. Romani, and I think I continue to say that I really don't like Richard Grannon. I don't like Sam Vaknin either. Dr. Ramani's videos are alright, but she sort of looks at the mental health side, and I've gone a step further because I understand what it is with the demonic task force. I understand sort of the spiritual aspects of everything, and understand where these people are having this possession. So this is where we are, and we have to continue to believe what we know and what has been installed onto us, and move forward in a positive way.